For crying out loud, it must be a virus. I'm sure I unsubscribed from that darn Chinese news channel.
Oh, that's racist.
So remember when I put up a voting poll on Discord asking you guys which video topic I should do next? I even said it in the announcements video, and that was like months ago. The most voted topic was the How to Train Your Dragon one, and lo and behold, I finally did it. Put a lot of effort into that one, so hope you guys enjoyed it. My videos have been about pretty good stuff recently, an honest dive into Dragon Ball Z, Onward, How to Train Your Dragon. We've had it too good for too long, so it's about time we get back to this channel's main roots, degeneracy. Hello, simps. Yeah, I might start calling you people that, cause some of you grovel at my feet a bit too much. I'm Jinlong, the incredibly annoyed dragon. This time, I'm being a good girl and following suit with the video topic you guys voted for immediately. If you've glanced at the thumbnail, chances are you already knew about this infamous pair of movies and the equally questionable company who produced them. But if you, by some chance in that lovely rock you've been living under, don't know about any of this, let this extremely reluctant dragon give you a quick rundown. You got the studios that make great animated films, Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, Ghibli among them, and those movies make fat stacks. So other studios with much smaller budgets decide to make mediocre, lower quality movies that resemble the good movies just enough that it'll get your poor confused grandma to buy the wrong movie and bring that Trojan horse into your household, but also slightly different enough to prevent them from getting a gorgeous lawsuit. Most studios, like your Good Times and your Golden Films, deliberately pick material that is public domain in order to abuse them loopholes effectively. But alas, some don't even try to go to that effort. And that, folks, is the sad bunch we're dealing with today. Vídeo Brinquedo, that's the correct way to pronounce it, is a Brazilian animated film company that was founded in 1986 with the intention of distributing and incentivizing Brazilian animation both nationally and internationally. You know, a pretty wholesome goal, to stimulate Brazil's animation industry and make it be recognized around the world. That's pretty cool, and in a sense, they did make Brazilian animation be known around the world, just not the way they thought it would. One of their first distributed films turned out to be Kingdom Under the Sea, a Christian animated series. Try as I might, I can barely find info on this apparent failed TV series, as it's only got 5 existing episodes. I can't even find the studio that produced it. The series was released as a single DVD in 2000, but Vídeo Brinquedo chose to distribute it in 2003. For no apparent reason, they just thought it was a neat year. They just picked up their horoscope and determined it was the best lucky year to release a movie. These DVDs are apparently somewhat rare, as they only sold a couple physical copies before Vídeo Brinquedo jumped to produce their other masterpieces. And fun fact, I own one of these copies. I actually used to love this thing as a kid, as well as several other Vídeo Brinquedo movies that ended up Trojan horsed into my house via confused grandmother, as with several other Brazilian children as well. Look, you guys got Good Times movies plaguing your childhood. Those of us in Brazil had these abominations. And it was in 2006 that Vídeo Brinquedo released their first and probably most competent movie, which would give birth to their empire of shameless copyrighted works of art. Little Cars was the start of it all. From the illustrious creators of Little Cars, Ratatouille, and the Little Panda Fighter, we get Monsters vs. Little and Big Monsters, and Up, What's Up? The reason I'm touching on both these movies is because most reputable reviewers only focus on What's Up, and then be like, surprise, surprise, when they discover that there's a prequel to it.
But Jinlong, hasn't What's Up been reviewed to death and at this point you're only beating a dead horse?
Oh no. See, most reputable reviewers only check out the English version, which is not the original. I happen to have the blessing, or the curse, of speaking the native language, so I saw the original versions as well. I'll point out a couple things that might have gotten lost in translation, or, accentuates the distasteful dark humor. So it's only fair that we start in order with Little and Big Monsters. I'll point out that some of the titles like this one and Little Panda Fighter translate rather poorly to English because the grammar doesn't click quite as well. That's the reason they sound a little weird. They sound better in Portuguese, but don't worry, they're still just as cringeworthy. I'll also admit that this movie is a lot tamer compared to What's Up. Oh, it's still god-awful, and the animation took a nosedive toward first-year animation students' rough work, but stuff like the casual racism is just turned up 10 notches in the sequel to this one. I'll be reviewing What's Up after this one, so stay tuned. So Little and Big Monsters begins with, oh, wow, look at them. They gave themselves a fancy English logo. Toyland Video. Classy. By the way, it says Toyland Video in the original version as well. In English. As well as the English title. They've never done that in their other movies, so that makes no sense. So our main character is Dr. Crumb over here, and he's a scientist. You can tell he's a scientist because he's got a painting of DNA above his bed. As you do. You know we all love admiring DNA every day before we sleep. He's also wearing what seems to be molecules on his pajamas. Yeah, bro, we gotta show our love for them molecules. Molecule is love, molecule is life. You know, he's really smart because he got a ton of books. There, by his bed. Smart books for smart people. Wow, the artists at Toyland Video are masters of show don't tell. He's got this little robot assistant that comes to give him the breakfast options.
Express breakfast, country breakfast, breakfast with nuts, Sunday breakfast, breakfast delight.
So he's apparently got 5 options of breakfast on this extremely vague menu, but that's just so confusing? None of these even resemble the breakfast he points to. They're just pictures of suns that vaguely look like stolen clip art. In the original, instead of saying
express breakfast, country breakfast, breakfast with nuts,
he says express morning, country morning, and such. That does help explain why they're suns, but it doesn't make the breakfast any less vague in either version. The little robot thing then starts broadcasting the news, and the hot topic of all the news channels across the entire Earth is Dr. Crumb's awesome inventions, cause he's famous around the world for doing extremely intricate alarm clocks, I guess?
Dr. Crumb's antenna, also known as the universal antenna, begins full operation tomorrow.
Oh, and just now, barely a minute after the movie started, we get our first dose of some hardcore, unadulterated racism.
酱促进八千，请温碗支持酱。
For crying out loud! It must be a virus. I'm sure I unsubscribed from that darn Chinese news channel.
That's racist.
You know, those news channels around the world were praising you and your inventions, so there's a good chance a Chinese channel was as well. So why? Just so you could program your robot to be racist? Yeah, ain't nobody coding viruses for the robot you built yourself. Well, I gotta say, the visuals are stunning. Just look at how shiny and realistic this default blend texture is. Pixar's got some competition, so our good doctor is finally gonna get his breakfast. We're all very excited to see what his fancy breakfast in his futuristic kitchen must look like, apparently, because they add an oddly tense countdown.
Country breakfast will be ready in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Country breakfast complete.
It's an egg. Just one single egg. Are all the other breakfasts like that? Just one piece of cheese? One single cereal?
1. Country breakfast complete.
Also, he's apparently applying salt with that plastic water gun. And when he finds out that water guns don't shoot out salt, he gets pretty pissed.
Apply! Junk!
So his niece Amanda and his nephew Gudo come in, and it seems today Dr. Crumb is activating some antenna he made that will allow them to talk to aliens.
Today's the inauguration of the intergalactic transmission antenna. We'll be able to chat with ETs. I'm so excited.
We're officially late! We've got to get out of here! Guto, what on earth are you doing? Guto, give me that! I have no idea what you're doing, but this isn't one of your silly toys, you hear me?
Jesus, dude, calm down. It's literally just a salt-applying water gun. You really yelling at your 8-year-old nephew over that? So they skip over to the opening ceremony where they're gonna start up the antenna. Dr. Crumb and his partner, Dr. Zooks, are standing there giving the press a scientific explanation of how it works that frankly makes no sense.
And here we turn the key on. The energy will flow through the antenna, thereby electrifying the solar electrodes in order to capture the most distant sounds from the infinite number of galaxies. If we need food, we can receive bananas from Pluto and onion rings from Saturn.
What about our security? We're still pretty traumatized by the images of that film showing how you fought off those terrible aliens during the infamous invasion of 54. Do you think we're safer now?
So everybody in this movie keeps bringing up this so-called invasion of 54. So seems Crumb and Zooks here stopped an alien invasion in 1954, and that's why they're such famous scientists. But the reporter guy made a valid question. Will making contact with aliens be safe? Because, you know, last time we tried that, we got invaded. And then Dr. Zooks just replies,
Oh, sure, it's safe, cause we're gonna make friends with them, and they're gonna bring us bananas from Pluto and onion rings from Saturn.
like, my dude, who's to say the aliens are gonna contact now aren't the same ones who invaded you last time? Who's to say they didn't talk to other aliens, or if they'll even want to help you?
I'd like to ask a very special young lady to help me turn on the antenna. My niece, Amanda.
Can I go with you, please? No, you stay here. You're too immature to handle a machine like this.
Yeah, clearly Gudo's too immature to pull that one lever. So they go on with a meeting and they just forget about Gudo, so he just heads on home alone while this really sad piano music plays in the background. But then Gudo spots a meteor in the sky, and then the music shifts from sad piano to this uncharacteristically upbeat rock.
Huh? What's that?
I think they only managed to get like 3 public domain tracks that don't exactly intermingle very well, but by God, they're using them. The meteor somehow crashes a couple meters away from Gudo without killing him instantly, so he just stares at it with an oddly ominous grin.
Wow, this is so beautiful!
Oh hell yeah, that's absolutely gorgeous! It's so fucking satisfying, it's ASMR to the eyes! This unrendered green ball with no shadow.
Wow, this is so beautiful!
It then just dips to black into the next scene, which still has Gudo in it, which is an extremely weird editing choice. To fade to black from a scene with a character, and then move to a different scene but the character is still there? Do movies do that a lot? Anyway, our beloved gang's all here, just having some ice cream, while Gudo does his best to not be subtle in the slightest about the unrendered green ball he found.
The antenna receives ultrasonic signals.
But what if it was a fluorescent ball? Sort of a green color that vibrates, what about that?
Kid, you found a strange object in a meteor from outer space right after your uncles activated the alien antenna. I'm thinking maybe that's something worth telling them about? Why would you not tell your scientist uncles about this? What do you stand to gain by keeping it a secret? Oh, here I am trying to apply logic to a Toyland video movie. So they keep talking some vague sciencey shit to fill up the runtime when Gudo mentions the alien invasion of 54. And the 2 scientists look really uneasy whenever someone mentions the alien invasion of 54. As if they know something we don't. Oh wait, Dr. Crumb already said the reason they get uneasy right at the beginning of the movie.
Do you think they would be as aggressive as the aliens were in the invasion of 54?
No, that never existed. I mean, those ETs were from galaxies very, very far away and...
Oh damn, it's almost like the invasion was a hoax or something. Maybe the clever screenwriters were hoping to make some kind of cute little plot twist where they reveal that the whole thing was a fake. But when the scientists are this obvious about it, all the time, now it's probably my imagination. Oh boy, I sure do wonder why they're so worried.
Come on, Guto, be serious. You really don't get it, do you?
Dude, I hate Amanda. She's like the know-it-all girl that sits next to you, who likes arguing with her 3rd grade science teacher over the 3 states of matter. She's incredibly mean-spirited toward Gudo, like she chastises him and implies he's dumb just because he's a kid. Apparently she lives with him, so who the hell was it that left this 8-year-old child to walk home by himself after his sister was too busy pulling mature levers? She radiates those kids in school who thought they were better than everybody else because they read Goosebumps instead of Magic Treehouse. This movie has a habit of making the characters freeze during zooms and then resume talking.
And besides, we have lots of complicated work to do.
That's right, kids.
It's time to go to sleep.
It's kind of awkward that they didn't realize they could zoom while the characters are talking. So Dr. Crumb and Dr. Zooks are back at their lab, and Zooks ominously tells Crumbs that they should tell Amanda the truth about what they've done. Oh boy, I sure do wonder what they've done. I sure do hope it's nothing to do with the alien invasion of 54. But, oh wow, they've got a message. The antenna works.
Press. Lost sugar mutation danger. Salty junk food
there a defect? What a strange message! I can't stand machines, I hate them! What a bunch of hunks of junk! If only one of them would work right!
Stop it. Get some help.
We got this scientist who built an antenna that can communicate with aliens thousands of light years away, and he just found out it works, but when the aliens don't speak perfect English, his first reaction is,
"Fuck machines! Fuck them! I'm gonna destroy these computers! I'm gonna abandon technology and go live in the forest with a fucking Sasquatch! These machines can die for all I care!"
Then after Crumb's little rage fit, he suddenly turns on a dime and calms down. This guy's bipolarity is driving me insane. We cut to Gudo sleeping on the hardwood floor for some reason. Turns out the little green ball Gudo picked up broke into pieces.
It's a piece of the baseball I saw hit the antenna. That's what I was trying to ask you about at dinner.
Oh, shut the hell up. You were hiding this information from them for no reason.
But when? Oh my goodness, that can't be what I think it is. We have to tell Uncle Crumb.
I understand that by making them go, "Whoa, what the hell is that?" and then not showing us what it is, they're trying to build suspense. But Toyland Video has this thing where they enjoy their awkward silences a little too much. So this comes off exactly as it is. An attempt to stall time and not show us what they're looking at so they don't have to animate it. Dr. Crumb then takes a closer look at the green ball and puts it in his mouth. To discover that the green thing is an egg, and from it hatch 3 monsters, which they refuse to show us what they look like. Some of you may have noticed the animation is most definitely Pixar quality during the entirety of the movie, but in this scene in particular, the characters can barely stay still as their very bodies tremble at the sensation of existing. Clearly Toyland Video must have been real proud of this one, cause here they are, promoting another one of their movies in the middle of the wall. You can also tell the effort they went through to make it look like a legitimate poster and not, you know, grabbing their lowest resolution PNG cover with the DVD symbol still on top. So they take the egg back to the lab so Zooks can have a look at it, completely ignoring the monsters near their own house and letting them run loose. I mean, these monsters didn't run far away, they're still nearby and posing a threat.
He's destroying everything!
But then they just run away to their lab and leave their neighbors to die. Our heroes.
You were right, Dr. Crumb. This material is an organic development recipient. It's the monster's egg, as we would say.
I knew it! They're primitive beings. Probably not even from space.
How do you know they're primitive beings? Just because they hatch from eggs doesn't mean they can't hunt you all for sport. So you're not just racist toward Chinese people, you're also racist toward monsters. Oh, Dr. Crumb, you're the scum of the earth. The news of the monster attacks is spreading throughout the city, and Gudo turns on a live reporting from the radio. I think that's an extremely clever move, because then they don't have to animate anything, as they would have to if they chose something modern humans use like a TV. This scene is pretty hilarious, cause in the English version there's a lady narrating what seems to be a full-on horror movie.
The monsters are moving in the direction of Corman Park. God help us, that's where the children play! Somebody save us! Help!
However, in the original version, not only is it a man narrating the news, but I'm pretty sure it's the same guy who voices the racist robot. He also doesn't seem to be narrating the horror of what's happening with worry and terror in his voice. Rather, he sounds like he's watching a football match.
O monstro há instantes estraçalhou impiedosamente um anão de jardim e agora ele corre para dentro do zoológico. É uma loucura! Não, com certeza este ser diabólico só quer saber de comer nossas cabeças, nossos corpos e nossos braços. Ele tá na jaula da zebra, pobrezinha da zebra.
Ai, que sujeito histérico.
Yeah, even Amanda sees what a shitty journalist he is. So Dr. Crumb then starts panicking that Amanda's gonna find out he's a fraud, and only Amanda. His nephew Gudo's respect and approval doesn't seem to matter to him as much, it seems.
They'll find out the whole lie. Monsters don't exist. We invented everything. That story about an invasion of monsters we made up was just so that the government would invest in our interplanetary communication project.
What a twist.
These monsters are a fraud! They're gonna find out everything! We're done! Fried!
Is it just me, or did he get slapped like way harder than it looks? Dr. Zooks then proceeds to give an emotional speech, I guess, with some sad piano as per usual.
Chin up, man. She loves you. It's not important what you did, but who you are. A dedicated scientist, an attentive uncle, and a man with character she can be proud of. Look at everything you do, everything you think. You're a famous scientist.
It sounds like he's saying something pretty deep and insightful, but if you really listen, it doesn't really make any sense. Dr. Crumb is like,
"My niece means everything to me, and losing her respect would literally kill me inside."
And Dr. Zooks is like,
"Oh, come on, it doesn't matter what you did, it matters what you are. A great uncle, an awesome scientist, and a racist. Now stop having a breakdown and let's go lie to the kids some more."
But before they can go lie to the kids some more, Dr. Crumb sees they're both gone and he finds a note.
Dear Uncle, we went ahead of you with the photoplasmolithium guns because we knew it was urgent. And don't worry, we're being careful and remember everything we saw in the video. Love, your fan, Amanda.
Amanda, you're in danger.
Okay, but why does he only care about Amanda? What about Gudo? Amanda's a grown 20-something-year-old woman. Gudo's like 8. And he went off to fight monsters with her. Gudo and his irresponsible-ass sister are at the park where there's a popcorn vendor. And this exchange goes on as a normal purchasing of popcorn until a monster shows up and Dr. Crumb comes driving in to save the kids and disrespecting the popcorn man.
Good for nothing, kids! These days they walk all over you. Even an old popcorn vendor. There's no respect for the corn. When's it all gonna stop?
And you know why I brought this scene up in the English version, cause in the original version... In the original version, there's a guy selling popcorn at the park, yeah, but the exchange is completely different. It comes across like this guy likes to spontaneously yell really loudly when people are close, which causes Gudo to scream at him to stop yelling in his ear.
Olha, pipoca doce, pipoca salgada, quem vai querer pipoca? Não grita no meu ouvido. Hein? O que você disse? Não grita no meu ouvido! É pipoca de milho.
But then the guy just hands him some popcorn anyway. This interaction is just so damn weird, and you find this kind of thing a lot in Vídeo Brinquedo movies. So, in a sense, the English dub actually improved this thing, cause they reworked it into something resembling human dialogue.
Salty popcorn with real cheese flavor! Who wants popcorn?
I want some popcorn!
Get your fresh popcorn right here!
So they're driving away in their car when Dr. Crumb finally decides to tell the kids, and by the kids I mean Amanda, that he is in fact a fraud. They also play the same good old sad piano.
I need to tell you the truth, Amanda. Forgive me. I'm a fake. We made up the invasion of 54. A lie to convince the government to build the antenna. The truth is that I'm just a poor, simple scientist. Please forgive me, Amanda. Forgive me. I'm so sorry.
The group's cheap emotional moment is interrupted when their car is picked up by a giant monster. With such an uninspired design, I could have picked a better one for my 4th grade class. After static shots that go on for a couple zooms too long, the group escapes and they go hide in the movie theater. Ooh, they have cinematic classics such as The Killer Lasagna. What's even more hilarious is that this movie theater is apparently open and functioning while there's a monster attack all over the city. Our intrepid heroes try to be quiet because they think they hear something. Turns out it's just a popcorn guy again, but they introduce him like he's a horror movie villain.
Good for nothing, kids! There's no respect for the corn!
Could it be that the popcorn guy was the true monster all along?
Now, the monster from outside still comes to attack them inside, cause it's not like he saw them heading towards the movie theater in broad daylight. But just when it seems like this is it for our beloved heroes, Gudo saves the day when he discovers the salt shaker he has in his hand is actually a t-shirt cannon containing infinite salt. Of course we're not gonna question the physics of how this is working. It also sounds like they recorded the monster cry once and then they just loop it over and over. They take him back to the lab to perform some cruel scientific experiments on him as it's clear this monster is terrified. What the hell? What is this? What is this? So Amanda and Gudo try to convince their uncle to let them go out and fight these building tall monsters with popcorn, but he's concerned with both their lives for once and tells them no. So obviously they realize that their lives matter more than monsters and popcorn, and they sneak out to do it anyway.
Hit him with the salt, quick! Take this, you oversweetened monster! Swallow these salty peanuts!
We did it! We saved the world!
Alright, first of all, those are cashews. Yeah, they make the same mistake and call it peanuts in the original version too. Dr. Crumb is a nut enthusiast, he should have taught you better.
Breakfast with nuts.
Second of all, I guess those tiny bags have infinite peanuts in them just like that salt shaker. They just spray out. And third of all, those guys weren't even doing anything. Look at them! They're just chilling on that seesaw. How would you like it if you were playing on the seesaw with your monster buddy and some dumbass kid comes along and chucks cashews all over you, huh?
Yeah! I saved the world! Cool!
But just before Gudo can,
Take one of those home for my collection!
a cloaked figure appears to stop his sadistic tendencies. It turns out to be 3 aliens stacked on top of each other. And the monsters running around the city are actually their pets. So they take Amanda and Gudo with them to go get them. Cut to the ice cream store and there's a monster hanging out at the back of the line. This scene looks like it'll be quick, right? The monster is gonna jump out, attack people, and boom, scene over and move on. No. Remember that coffee shop scene in The Room? How they thought it was necessary to fully include the orders of 2 random pairs of people before they cut to the characters that actually matter? Yeah, they do the exact same here.
Anyway, how is your sex life?
Monsters just waiting there at the back of the line while these people take an eternity to order, all while the cashier repeats their orders back to them.
I'd like a scoop of marshmallow and nuts and a scoop of, let's see, so many flavors. Oh, I want that one right there. Double chocolate delight.
Okay. Marshmallow and nuts and 1 double chocolate delight coming up. Welcome to Ice Cream Express. How can I help you?
Oh, hi. I want a caramel star apple and a chocolate-covered star apple with lots of sprinkles.
Okay, so that's 1 caramel star apple and 1 chocolate-covered star apple with lots of sprinkles.
Oh, you know what's even better? In the original version, this scene takes twice as long because the voice actress botched her line and started over.
Carambola caramelizada e caramelo achocolate... caramelo achocolatado.
The fact they just left this in here and lip-synced it shows how little they care. This, kids, is padding runtime 101. We finally get to the so-called climax of this movie as the aliens take Amanda and Gudo to get the last monster, only for it to backfire and Amanda gets captured. According to the aliens, the monster is somehow too strong now, so salt no longer works on it. But then Crumb and Zook show up to save the day, yay! So, Crumb beats himself up because the alien invasion he made up was a hoax, but he straight up managed to build a flying motorcycle in a day. Did you really need to fake an invasion to get funding if you can do shit like this on your own? But oh no, there's too much weight on the motorcycle that was purposefully designed for 2 people, somehow. So, Dr. Zooks just straight up hightails it out of there.
I'm going to miss you when it's all over! You're a true hero!
Yep, he says he's doing it to balance the weight and how Dr. Crumb is a true hero. And then just leaves him there by himself to possibly die. What a dick. Being left to fend for himself, Dr. Crumb somehow does this. And after some wacky antics, he defeats the monster by throwing some salt, I guess. He says salt even though we only see a laser. Even after Gudo and Amanda tried throwing salt at it earlier and it had no effect. Oh, whatever! The aliens go back to their planet, the whole city hears about what these idiots did, and they become the world-famous monster hunters, I suppose. Movie over! Good God! Did you enjoy all this so far? Did you have at least some kind of fun while I was summarizing the movie? Well, if so, that's just me trying to make the world's most boring movie somewhat tolerable. Holy shit, this movie is 45 minutes long, but it feels like 3 hours. It's a nightmare how absolutely soulless and boring this whole thing is. As you can guess, it's got little to nothing to do with Monsters vs. Aliens, the movie this thing was ripping off. And even that wasn't a good movie. Oh, one last thing. In movies like these, 45 minutes long, the bare minimum requirement to be considered a feature length, poorly and blandly animated to the point where staring at paint drying would be more entertaining, it's always fun to take a look at the credits. If you see a lot of repeated names on there, it's clear proof this thing was whipped up in about a month by 5 people desperately working for a paycheck, not for art. It's a little noticeable though how the English credits are slightly different from the Portuguese ones. In the original version, the director was Ale Machado. I really don't know if that's a misspelling or if his name is just weird like that, cause they spell it like that throughout the whole credits, even the English version. And in that one, the director somehow changed to Everton Rodrigues, who was doing backgrounds in the original. I do believe he'd be better at screenplay though. Okay then, let's talk about the illustrious voice talents. Other people who saw the English version said it was bad, but honestly, it's leagues above the original Portuguese one. Look at these credits. We got brother and sister, friends, family. It's painfully obvious the director just grabbed whoever they could find to voice this shit and get it done with. The English version isn't perfect, but to me the voices sounded fine, almost competent, and I think I know why. You might have heard some of these voice actors before.
You really don't get it, do you? The antenna is just to talk to the aliens. Nobody's gonna kill anyone, got it?
It's a piece of the baseball I saw hit the antenna. That's what I was trying to ask you about at dinner.
It's hard to tell with the other actors because of course there's no credited English cast, but yeah, I'm pretty sure Guto and Amanda are Luffy from the One Piece 4 Kids dub and Amy from Sonic X. What the hell they're doing voice acting in this shit is a mystery to me. I can only think they just needed some extra cash. Everything else about this movie just sucks. It's bland, it's boring, it's straight up insulting how little they tried with this, down to leaving the animation rough and unfinished in an effort to cash in on DreamWorks. Notice how the models are just shaking and trembling all the time? In short, this happens because the frame rate is set to something lower than 24 frames per second. The animation ended up choppy and chaotic because they couldn't bother to fix the damn frame rate. The art direction? Basic and uninspired. I pretty much call it non-existent. These are the most generic, forgettable designs I've ever seen. These monsters are exactly what you'd get if you asked a random person to draw a monster and they drew this as a default. A fun fact, all the writing you see in the movie, posters, billboards, panels and stuff, that's all in English. Yeah, even in the original version in Portuguese. And yes, I can tell the original one is the Portuguese one because the lip syncing, or the bare minimum attempt at it, checks out. That wouldn't make any sense unless, of course, they were planning this piece of garbage to be released in English from the start. I apologize on behalf of the entirety of Brazil that this filth made it onto your country. The soundtrack. Okay, so they do credit a musician at the end, but I'd call it as basic and forgettable as everything else in this movie. I'm more than willing to bet they just got the rights for 3 default songs from this guy and called him their musician. Finally, the story. Oh god, the story. The only reason I wouldn't call this so-called story non-existent is because they had some semblance of a 3-act structure and a climax. That is definitely not even close to saying much though. Scenes drag for way too long to clearly pad the runtime, plot holes are left wide open and never mentioned, let alone solved, and is obviously a pathetic attempt at whipping up a story with monsters in it as they go to be nothing but a shameless cash grab. I don't have much else to say about this thing. The only reason you'd ever watch this is if you enjoy visual masochism. Let me make it clear, there are some movies that are so bad they're good. This one is just boring. Boring, lazy, and soulless. There is absolutely nothing to like or remember about this movie. Well, that was awful, but by God, believe me, it will get worse. Compared to the movie that's up next, this one is the calm before the storm. That's right, dear viewers, join me for part 2, where we'll take a look at Little and Big Monsters, twice as insane and 10 times as racist sequel What's Up. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon.